look at those videos later. Hello everyone, N55 Morris back with another video. I am inside now, thankfully. It's quite cold and quite chilly outside. And today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how to read a data log. So I see this question floating around the Facebook pages quite a lot. And I always said I should have made a video, so here it is. There are three major components of reading a data log for the most simplistic kind of way to know the health of your car. Granted, there are certain specialty conditions, certain channels that let you read and dive into a deeper diagnostic. However, for the most part, this is for the average person, the person who likes to really get involved in the tuning process. These three basic things really help you understand your car. So number one is boost. So as the condition around it, boost pressure, target, deviation, and wastegate duty cycle. Number two is a throttle. So that's acceleration pedal with throttle or throttle closures. And number three is your timing. So that's adding or removing timing and knock conditions. So apologize for this big blue thing on the screen. That's just, I don't know if you guys can see it. I just got a new screen recorder, so hopefully it works all right. Regardless, we find myself on my Data Zap page. As you can see, I have quite a lot. So right now for number one, I'm gonna talk about boost. So we're gonna dive into this. Let me clear this, zoom out, and hit some of these markers to remove. I was already on it, just playing around. I already had these. Once again, these are some of my older logs, so I want to make sure it showed me what I wanted to see. So first and foremost, as I click off some of these things, I do like accelerated pedal position, and that tells me I am hammer downing this, so I just zoom in right there. And then I could tell I'm on just one gear pull. Normally I did, this is now MHD, where you could see how I was on, you can see the gear change here. You always could go Control F and go right into gear. It will show you right here, and you can see that gear change, that little blip there, but for all intents and purposes, we'll just keep it into third gear. So on MHD, and especially when you go over 21 PSI, I Control F boost again, if I could spell it correctly. We go into a boost target RAM, and then we go into boost PSI. If you click on one thing I do like, on top of not only dragging and dropping to zoom in, if you click on certain elements, you can see it gives you a scale. Sometimes it doesn't always line up kind of nicely for you. However, and this time it does, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So we can see here, this is on my big boost kit, my hammer down right here. I don't know why it's clipped, but, and you could tell right until I meet target, that in this case is the boost lag. So I'll show you some stock turbos maps after this. As you know, this is a 61, 64 car. And you can see it hits right about the target around 4,000 RPM. So you can see that is my boost lag. I was battling some issues with this car. I did remove my turbo screen guard at this time. So we will see some funky things, which is great for learning and teaching, as we could say here. So I meet my target, and then I go over target, so 21.4, and have a bigger over boost at up here. So what this is actually really good at showing now, so now I can see, okay, I am close to boost. So I go into wastegate, or in this is WGDC in MHD, and once again, boot mod is just wastegate. Oop. We can see here that in that hammer down condition, when you're of course spooling a turbo, that turbo is going to be closed fully. So an MHD is 100%, and boom, BM3 only shows 99, but it's the same thing. So as I get closer to my target, we can see that the wastegate is kind of pulling back a little bit. So in my tune, there is some areas to work. I am still tuning this car, and we could kind of fine tune this. If you do hear a baby in the background, yes, he is right next to me. As you can see here, that the wastegate starts to dip a lot right into the mid 80s. Then it starts to add more, trying to add more boost, because as I'm adding a ramp in the tune I've requested from my tuner, and you can see once you go to the even more overboost condition, it pulls back some. It does start to fluctuate, but we can see here my wastegate is not fully tapped out. I do believe in kind of that you shouldn't really go above 85% on your wastegate consistently. This is a race gas map, and I don't drive this car every single day like this. It's not like it's a race car or anything like that. It still is very streetable. However, just little word of the wise. So now we can see that the boost is acting somewhat to what we want. It still is over boosting. How we do see though, it meets target. So that means I do not have a boost leak, which is another scenario and situation people do run into. And my wastegate is acting as appropriately. However, with the accelerated pedal all the way down, we go in throttle position. This leads me to number 2, throttle closures. I personally know what a throttle closure feels like. As you start to drive, you can feel that hesitation. But as you can see here, these cars usually around, it's probably a half on under 1 pound of boost, and off-the-shelf tunes, they usually get away with about a full pound of boost before it starts to pull that throttle closure, starts to close the throttle to kind of modulate how much boost is going to the engine. So once you get one throttle closures, your rest of your that run kind of gets thrown off quite a bit due to the fact that it's basically very hesitant to just give you full beans again. So that's what we see here. So even though we are now under target, remember our target, our actual, is orange, you can still see here, it does go right to 100%, again, throttle open. And once again, overboost, they kind of a inverse correlation. More overboost, more throttle closure, and that's where we see that dip right here. So now we can see here that this log, the car is okay, but we can see it hits boost target, but it's just probably has to dial back that wastegate duty cycle, because it actually is hitting boost kind of a little too aggressively. And that's exactly what was going on with this car. I had a turbo screen guard and an AEM dry bag, because it's a bottom mount and no intake. And I pulled it off for the last one before the season, and that's exactly what happened. So that is number 1 and number 2. I'll pop over here to a stock turbo map. This was about 2022, I believe. We're waiting for this to load up. There we go. Basically saying that it's okay now. And we can see here, once again, I'll pull it back. This is just map, PSI, accelerated pedal. Once again, I'll clear the zoom and get it from the top, everyone. Drag and drop to where you are fully hammered down. And now what I like to do is ignition cylinder timing. I believe it's the same thing in MHD, but this is what the target timing basically wants. I forget what this map is. I think it's just a 91 stage 2 map. We can see this is the timing that it wants during the pull. Once again, this is the off-the-shelf tune. And this is actually what the cylinders are doing now. So basically, as we can see here, as we slowly scan, the one, not only is it great that they're very consistent, they're all the same number, they're also above what the target timing is. That means the car is adding timing, it's in a good condition, your ITAs are in check, your fuel's in good check, so it's actually compressing that mixture just a little bit more, so it can give you just a little bit more beans, basically. When you do see the variations from here, so you can see one that's 5.5, even though target is 8.19. So that's not necessarily a red flag right away. If you're ever in a negative time situation, then definitely I see check out your spark plugs, your coil packs, your fuel mixture, it's okay. So, but if it's a little bit behind timing, the car is making the adjustments basically so it does not get into a knock situation. These cars allegedly could predict knock, and if you're ever concerned, you hit that knock detector and then scan over. It's either 0, no knock, 1 is a knock. So of course there's no knock in this situation. So that is 100% good towards us. So let me pop back to the newer one. Once again, no wait for this to show up. Here it is. Once you're in the newer, kind of recently, there's a lot more channels to look at. Let me try to unclick some of these stuff just so you guys could kind of start to see what I'm looking at. RPM, accelerating, throttle. Turn off throttle. So kind of honorable mention, or number 4, you can look at the vitals. Once again, if you know what's going on in the up front, and you tell your tuner, you have an understanding when you guys talk back and forth, or if you actually want to see yourself, you can check your ITAs, and that sometimes is then correlates to your timing. And once again, I was right. Just timing is the same thing as this, as in BM3. And as you could tell, that the timing is, go back to accelerate, boost. Always good to have boost in there, right? Go back to boost as the boost is coming up. Then I believe in my map, the tuning, the more timing should start to pour in the later RPMs, and you can see it's quite consistent. So then a lot of time of pulling timing usually due to high ITAs, but I'm at 16 Celsius, as you can see, actually went from 17 to 16, meaning that big intercooler I do have is working quite well. There's other, you can also look at your oil temperature, your oil pressures, making sure everything's okay there. So maybe if you're on track, this is good to check if your oil pressure is okay. And the oil temperatures, don't go too hot, of course. Another one to check for as well is your rail pressures. If you're running like an ethanol map, especially if you're in the stock high pressure fuel pump, this is another good way to check. Right now, my rail pressure, you can see it's in the like I said, 2400 RPM. If it's off by 100, 200, it really does not matter. However, I have seen dips on the stock high pressure fuel pump as low as around the 1200s. If you hit around the 900s, I know that's when you really get in the problem area. But that's really when you only really pushing a high ethanol content. If you're on gasoline or anything on that stoic point of 14.7, you usually don't have a concern, as well as if you do have quite a large stage 2 or stage 2.5 high pressure fuel pump nowadays. So that's another thing to check. Of course, there's the vanos, there's a boost deviation you could check, the timing corrections. If you're on a multi-map, make sure you're in the right maps. There's a torque actual at the clutch. My tuner says it's not really that very good, but as you can see, there's a lot of overwhelming factors on here that people think that this is kind of hard to read and hard to understand. But hopefully this video cleared up some of that stuff and make you guys be able a little more comfortable reading logs before you send them to the tuner or before you post them onto the Facebook pages. But anyways, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me as always, and don't forget to catch me on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and see y'all on the next one.